Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings. 3M Open. Final bets, the weather, and full DraftKings preview with picks and ownership and roster construction. You out there play in the DraftKings Listeners League. I think there's like 75 spots left. The link is down in the description if there are any spots remaining by the time the show actually comes out. Smash the like, give me your favorite sleeper down in the description as well. And the newsletter will be coming out on Wednesday evening, so please go sub for free down in the description right now. Okay, if you missed my interview with Ross Tucker from Tuesday, highly suggest you go check it out. Tambo, he's calling games for CBS this year.
Yeah, big time.
So we heard about what you do to prep, all that stuff, some fandom stuff. Ross is awesome.
Yeah,
I did a show with him last year, so it was just fun getting him to my realm rather than like, hey, we're doing a show and there's like picks that have to come out. Just like, no, let's just sit down and chat for an hour. I thought it was good.
When do you want to get into his realm? When do you want to get on the CBS train here?
I don't know. He said I can come on his show, so we'll see how that goes. I'm curious to see what he asked me about. I got Seeley on tomorrow with Booms or Busts, and then 2 meanies next week. Rankings for football, finally.
Nice.
Football season's coming.
We're getting close.
We're getting very, very close. Once August hits, I used to start this in like May. And I was like, now everyone does it like all year round. I was like, well, do I really need to start this in May to fill content? No, not really. We got a lot of golf on the go.
But you can, though, if you want. What do you know the deal with the golf schedule? I was trying to find this out yesterday. Like, remember they talked last year, obviously a lot has happened since then, but it was about like, oh, it's going to be different in the swing season this year. It's not going to be as much. People can get better schedules, all this. Do you have any idea how that's going to look or play out as of now? I couldn't find anything on it, and it feels like it's almost been put on pause just because everything that's happened over this past season.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm just unsure. Like, I remember Kenny was talking about it with me for the Fantasy Golf Degenerates, saying like, I don't know, how many shows are we actually going to have in the swing season this year and all that? And what's that going to look like? So we'll have to see what the actual schedule looks like when it comes out. But I've seen nothing yet.
I'm looking at the schedule right now on PGAtour.com, and it's all the same tournaments that we've always had. Yeah.
Is it for the new year though?
2023.
Okay, maybe I missed that.
We got the Fortinet, then Ryder Cup, then Sanderson Farm, Shriner, Zozo, Worldwide Technology. No longer at Mayakoba, now at El Cardenal del Monte in Los Cabos. Oh, geez, I was just in Los Cabos. Maybe we can go back down and check out that course.
I'd love that. Let's go.
Bermuda, and then the RSM, and we done.
Okay. Well, it'll be good. Lots of golf, like you said, but excited for football just around the corner.
Yeah, I know. We'll do a few shows, getting everything ready. ShipItNation.com is where you can find all of Tambo's stuff. I'll talk about my bets. Guaranteed to lose is how I would put it. Finau at 20, which was a future from a few months ago, but he's almost back down to 20 right now, so I guess it's not that big of a deal. Probably wouldn't have bet him coming into the week, but hey, here I'm stuck with it, so might as well go all in. Pendrith and Glover both at 65-1. Higo and Gim both at 90-1, both with 5 placement points. Then I bet Trevor Cohn at 350-1 with 8 places. Just way down the list. Throw some money away. One and done. I got Finau. Jeff has Aberg, and Cuss took Emiliano Grillo. And we have 2 viewers who have put money on Grillo as a charity bet because they won big last week with Brian Harmon. Mm-hmm. So if Grillo wins, a lot of money to charity.
The Hunter came through for everybody and got the job done. So now they're putting it in. I did see that on Twitter. That's awesome that people are doing that. Get in on Emiliano. I did one more, though, that our guy, Skyhook DFS, Skyler sold me on the Zach Blair at 500-1 with the each way.
It's funny because he obviously had the second at the Travelers. I was on him at Valspar earlier this year when he played really well, and it's funny. It sticks out in my mind so vividly. It was probably 2016, 2017, and we always make the comp to, hey, there's a lot of water here. PGA National has a lot of water. Maybe there's a crossover between it. We see that Michael Thompson has won both, so maybe there's something there. But I had like a pretty big bet on Zach Blair to win the Honda. He was in great form going. It's like, this is a perfect course for Zach Blair. I think he finished 17 over par in 2 rounds.
It's always possible with Zach Blair. The numbers inflated for that. He was saying, like, Sky was talking about it. I put it in the tidbits today on X, not Twitter anymore, but I put it in there, and he says that he's going to ladder him up to like a top 20. So he'll have everything along the way that goes with it, which is a good way to do it if you're going to get in on a guy like that. But I heard about Trevor Cohn, people wanting to hop on that one early. Some even got 400s, 300s, a great number with the each ways. So
I could have got 400, but I cut it to 350 for the more placement.
For sure. I would do that too. I definitely am all for that. And then the other guy, what about Frankie Capalot? You hear about this guy?
No, tell me about
Frankie Cappin. I don't know. Another guy that Sky had in there, apparently local guy, Minnesotan. He's got all this, history leading up. He's got some stuff on the line. You have to check it out. It's in the tidbits, but a lot of people are liking him. And I wasn't as sold yesterday. I did a show with Hoop on the Ship It Nation YouTube channel. I was like, if you're going to get in on this guy, what I always say, and we'll talk about it here too, is if you're going to pick your guys down in that 6K range, at least get in on them. Well, last night I was just, prepping for this show, building up some lineups. And he kind of makes a lot of things work. You just swap him and Zach Blair. You could try him and Zach Blair together. I was just checking it out, and I'll throw some of those into the $25, the big one, $200K up top, nothing to lose. I just thought it was at least interesting, and I got a little bit sold on it. Sky's been really good on these calls.
He really has been.
Peter Quest at 500 to 1 got all the way to the top and paid it out with the each way that week, or maybe it was 600 to 1. I can't remember, but it was a very good call, and there's been plenty of others along the way.
Yeah, the Kabuki Man was not a great call.
No.
Although I think that the guy that we had bet at the Kenya Open the year before ended up winning on the Sunshine Tour at some point this year.
Didn't he hit like 1,000 to 1 winner as
Yeah.
well? Just, love to see it. Great stuff. If you don't follow him, go follow at Skyhook DFS. Incredible dude.
Weather in Minnesota for the week. I might jump on Zach Blair as well now that we talk about
Hop
it.
on it.
Might.
The other thing.
You said nothing to lose. You could lose your money.
Well, you do have to protect yourself with insurance here. The better bet that he had, I actually didn't get a chance to clip this one in, was Zach Blair, first round leader, 180 to 1. Just tap that in there too, Pat. Just be fine with it. You probably don't have a bunch of FRLs right now.
I have 0 FRLs right now.
There you go. Throw it in there.
Blair FRL. Okay, I'll throw that one in.
That's a good bet. That's like more likely to what's to happen. If he doesn't go the other way anyway and you're already dead,
Yeah.
it's more likely like, oh shit, he's actually doing something this week, and then he dies on day 2. So take that one just as the insurance plan.
Thursday looks fine. Super hot in the Twin Cities.
I'm told I'm going to burn to smithereens.
Oh yeah, you're go. It's like the third time you've told me like today, and I keep forgetting that you're going to be there. Go meet. There's the draw. Who cares about the Fantasy Golf World Championship? Go meet Tambo.
Yeah, be there. 18th green. Hopefully they got to the AC and we can stay in on that, but it's the DraftKings setup there, so it should be pretty good. I may make it as early as Friday afternoon for the cut sweat.
Oh, nice.
And then I'll definitely be there on Saturday, Sunday there. Just nursing the knee a little bit still. It's getting better though, so coming together that way hopefully is good enough to be able to walk around at least a little bit. I want to see some of these guys out there too.
Yeah, you don't really want to walk around. I walked around a bunch when I was there, and I was like, yeah, it's nice, but like, let's go to the AC tent.
Very little, yes. I'm with you on that one.
Get
sure.
the free food, gain like 400 pounds, sitting there on 18, just watching people go for the green and 2 and plunk it in the water. It'd be nice.
Yeah, it'd be
fun
good.
times. Friday morning, at least, looks like it's a little bit dicey. Looks like there's going to be potential rain overnight from Thursday to Friday, maybe softening up the course. But we have gusts up to like 25, 22 miles per hour, where it basically clock strikes noon and there's no more wind.
Yep.
But how is that going to hold?
And what is it going to hold? That's
Yeah.
the other side of it too. So it's really tough to dive into this angle. I think the one thing that was brought up was like, again, with the Zach Blair take of the AM tee time for him going out on Thursday is like maybe on Thursday where it is pretty balanced across the board. But if there was, someone said yesterday, there was a little bit of rain leading up. So maybe that's your one chance to get after it. With these temperatures, obviously the bigger worry is about it baking out and being much tougher. I know this was talked about too with many. Kenny brought it up on Monday. Fantasy Golf Degenerates is that like everyone goes to this course. It's all birdie fest because 4 years ago and 3 years ago, there was a lot of birdies, eagles, things that there's still plenty of scoring opportunities out there. Not saying there's not, but funny enough, you go look at a year like last year, only 10 guys, 9 under or better. Only one guy, Tony Finau, broke 70 all 4 rounds when you're looking at DraftKings bonuses, things like that. Like it really hasn't been that. Is there opportunities out there? Yes, but as the tournament, whatever the guy who created it all said, birdies or train wrecks, I do like that setup for sure with how they do it out here.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to play well, and listen, if you had to pick one, besides approach, because we always know, regardless of the course that you play, if you're hitting your approaches well, you're going to be pretty good. Feel like you got to be a strong driver.
Yeah.
Outside of Michael Thompson, when you go and look at the players that have won at this course, even finished, like you can be the Morikawas, who came in second, a very mid-length, but very accurate, still getting a bunch of strokes off the tee. We saw that with Griot. Even someone like Adam Hadwin is very accurate, but doesn't have a ton of distance. They've all had great finishes here. But just being either super accurate or long and accurate. That's why, I didn't bet Aberg, but every time it just kind of comes back to it, it's like, this seems like a perfect course for him.
It does, and you're paying a premium for him on DraftKings. The bet number, what was the number, 35 or 40? I think some got 40s. That's whatever. It is what it is. I'm just saying that's the thing, but it's that way for a reason. Like you just said, the guy literally just pounds it out there. Typically, from what we've seen so far, keeps it pretty fair, pretty straight in the fairway, good to go. If he can do that at a course like this, it should be one that he can take over a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. And I think like with the year, it's not going to be maybe the same playing that way, but like remember the Bryson, Matthew Wolff, the drama down the stretch.
And Morikawa was second.
All that, yeah, all of that was happening because I think it was Bryson got the eagle.
And then Wolf
Then
made the
Wolf
putt from off the green.
made the putter. I couldn't remember if he putted or chipped it, but it was off the green, put the pressure, and then Morikawa had the putt, and it was like looking like at it, and then it's not going in for you, and it's game over. So you can get some really good finishes. I love the finishing hole, but I do think that makes sense. The off the tee stuff, just in general. And then again, you can't really quantify this. I don't think this is the stat that's out there, but kind of what we know from experience is just guys that can control themselves in spots like this and not make stupid mistakes, because that's where you lead to the issues here, right? You have to be able to control what you're doing, put it in the right places, take some of these, lean off some in spots and know when to go and when to hold up. And that's kind of what you'll see over the weekend here. And that's why you can see guys like Adam Hadwin and Grillo and those guys find their way around. They really don't get too loose with it.
Were you surprised that Sam Bennett's getting 0 buzz?
No. I don't know. Like you're the Sam Bennett lover. I don't have any. Why would he get a bunch of buzz here?
Well, if we think about ball striking, especially off the tee play, like that's kind of his entire thing, isn't it?
I guess, yeah. I don't know. I'm not as high on this guy as you are, but he's obviously good. I don't take away from his talent. I just, again, where is he at? 6,900, I think?
Yeah, like he's never gained fewer than 1.1 strokes off the tee in any of his 2023 starts on the PGA Tour.
So
and that includes the U.S. Open, Memorial, the Masters, like real events.
Yeah, 7,200. I guess it's probably more a product then of the other stuff, like who's around him. Look at the range he's in.
Oh, sure. Like Shez is down there. He goes down there.
It's everyone people want to play. Kevin Yu, Sig, Sam Stevens, Ches Reavie, the Woos, above and below, Brandon and Dillon, Lee Hodges, KHTPC Lee. Like he's just stuck. That's why he's not getting any buzz. I guess that would be more the reason why. Obviously, we know he's talented.
I like him this week.
Can he show up?
If no one is playing Sam Bennett, like he's not markedly different than any of these other guys, except like because I have Ryan Palmer highlighted as well, just because the ball striking numbers continue to be good. Dude can't make a putt to save his life. But if 15 is probably a bit much, 10% of people are playing Grayson Sig and 1% of people are playing Sam Bennett.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a fair trade-off to play Bennett instead.
Yeah, it's fine to do, and definitely when we get to it and talk just about the ranges, this 7,400, so we're back from last week. The point we brought up last week, there was only 30 guys in the entire 7K range with the changed pricing.
You needed one of those guys for sure.
Yes, you did. His name is Brian Harmon. And then here, we're back to 30 guys, 7,400 down to 7K, but all the love is going to the guys at the top with Aaron Rye, Højgaard, Eric Cole. Like they're all at least getting something up there. There's not many guys 7,400 and below besides maybe Gim, Ches Reavie, and probably Kevin Yu that hit that 10% mark. And other than that, everyone's like 6 to 5% or below. So you can get different down here big time. And Sam Bennett, Stevens is down there too. But Sam Bennett would make a good case for your point there.
What do you want to do in one and done?
Like, what do we have now?
We're in 1600th place.
No, I know that. That never changes because we don't do any. We
just tread water every single week.
Yeah. What's the options we've got here?
Sungjae is our top end option.
Okay.
That we have available. We've used Finau, Young, and Matsuyama. Then we have like Griot, Straka, Thigala, Aberg, Adam Hadwin, Jagger, Keith Mitchell, Rye, Gary Woodland. All those guys are available to us, and basically everyone down the board.
What are some of the standard ownerships? Like what's Sungjae?
Sungjae is available now in 29% of leagues.
Pretty limited.
And it doesn't seem like people love Sungjae. They like Sungjae this week. They don't love Sungjae this week.
Yeah, I feel like DFS will reflect it differently, but I didn't see a bunch of people rushing out to bet him.
Yeah.
On everything I looked at, and I don't know if that will reflect in one and done either, because it's kind of like people probably have other options, and they even could have Cam Young and Tony Finau and guys like that remaining. Maybe they saved Tony Finau because he won here last year and they know he's going to show up and play well again or something. But yeah, and people like Straka, Grillo, Aberg, things like that. So I don't mind Sungjae. What's some of the other ownerships?
It's nothing.
Nothing?
Yeah, like, everyone has everyone else to use.
Okay.
Like just like for reference, like we've used all these other guys, but Finau is only 20% available. Cam Young is 43% available. Hideki's 46. Justin Thomas is 32.
Do we have JT?
No.
No, we definitely don't. All right. What do you think? Just use Sungjae then?
I mean, I'm not going to. I mean, unless he plays next week. Is he playing next week?
So far, I haven't seen that.
At the Wyndham?
Haven't seen it.
This is 150th start on the PGA Tour for Sungjae.
And do you know the next line of that?
No.
He won his 50th start. He won at Honda. His 100th start. He won at the Shriners.
Easy.
150th
Easy game.
start. He
wins
wins.
Sungjae in.
Sample size huge. Wins every 50 starts.
It's a good ratio.
two times so far.
Yeah, 1 in 50. Just bet him if anytime he's above 50 to 1, you got to bet him.
Got to bet him. He's down to it. I mean, I feel like he should have won more than that, but still. We talk about all the disappointments this week. Rory McIlroy will never win another major. He's out of his peak physical prime, we're told.
Is that true?
I definitely don't think so. But
Who said this?
oh, I was making fun of Brandel, talking about him, and Brad Faxon stood there and looked at him like this the whole time. Like, how are you going to tell me Rory is not in his physical prime? And then Brandel got caught up in his own words. Well, I'm just saying, like, mentally, he's not. No, you just said physically. He's not in it. So I just keep making fun of that. I actually don't mind Brandel as much as most do, because he has to go on and make his takes and all that. And obviously, he stands behind a computer and Twitter, and Phil gets after him, and Brooks, and that stuff's all funny to me. But I just thought it was kind of interesting to say, like, Rory doesn't have much time left. Like, he's 34 years old. If Tiger can come back and win the Masters many years later, I'm not putting him on the same pedestal. I'm just saying guys can win these majors.
Phil won his first major at 34, I think.
I believe that was it, yeah. And then I think it was Kyle Porter posted out a couple different things, but one was like, you have to stop looking at Rory like he's Tiger and say that he's Phil, and now he's really looking pretty good.
Great.
So how is he a disappointment and all this stuff that everyone's going on about? So I don't know, it's always funny, and I'm not even a Rory stan. I just think it's hilarious when these guys go on and say this, when the guy's been top 10. It's really hard to win golf tournaments, let alone majors, and you only get 4 majors a year. He can't. What do you want him to do? He can't go back and play them again. He tried to win them. I promise you that. It just didn't work out. So, I don't know. We'll see. I'm fine though. Going back to it, Pat. If we want to go Sungjae.
Sungjae it is.
Roll him out. Do you like him this week though? Besides the ownership side of things, who gives a shit because we're in 1600th, et cetera, et cetera. Do you have interest in him? In DFS, do you have interest in him as a play here? Obviously, he lines up at a lot of stuff that goes well with here.
Sure. I mean, I don't like him any more, any less than any of the top 4 guys. Like, okay. I really don't know how to distinguish between Young, Finau, Im, and Hideki.
I think he's going to get ownership still. I know I'm flipping your DraftKings side. We kind of did one and done, but just to say it, like, the other stuff is, like, sometimes these guys do just line up, and if everyone's using the Honda comp, clearly fits that. People have even talked about Shriners a little bit because there's some crossover between those 2 events. He's won that. Playing at the Rocket Mortgage Classic recently, I think he was there and did pretty well. Like, that's another one that people bring up.
I think that one is, because I looked at that too, and there was, Finau won them back-to-back kind of thing. But I think that was the key point, is that they were back-to-back.
Yeah.
Not so much back-to-back anymore.
That's true. Yeah, it's definitely possible. So, I mean, like I said, it's tough to just go different up top, because you got Young, who just did everything he did with the off the tee numbers and the approach numbers, just still losing it with the putter. Looks pretty good last 2 events. You got Finau defending champ, and then a lot of people impressed with Hideki last week based on the fact that, injury scare hasn't come up in a while. Mind you, he did WD from this tournament last year and crushed people, I believe. But 10,000 looks pretty fair on Hideki as well. So I'm not sure. We'll talk about it when we get there.
Well, let's talk about DraftKings then.
All right.
You have those 3 at the top. Looking at the ownerships right now, if you want to generate your lineups or get the ownership, look at the simulations, whatever it might be, fantasynational.com/Mayo will get you 20% off any of the membership levels. So go do that right now. Thank you. I mean, the one guy that people aren't playing from the top is Finau, so I'm just going to jam 150 Finaus.
There you go.
Honestly, I think that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I think it'll be like 15%, so you'll be able to get leverage pretty easily.
I think he's going to be lower than that.
It's possible, 12 to 15 range maybe, but I have him on the high side.
Like, Sungjae and Aberg, I have projected as the 2 highest owned guys, with Hideki, Straka, Griot, and Young just behind. If all of the highest owned guys are going to be 6 of the 7 highest priced players, one of those guys isn't getting any ownership, and it's very clearly going to be Finau.
Yeah, it's true, but also it gets dispersed up top. So, I mean, if Cam Young is 20, let's say Cam Young gets to 19, whatever. Like, Finau at 16 is not really crazy.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be 16. I think that in lieu of, if people are going to say, I'm not going to play Cameron Young, I don't think their click is Finau. I think their click is Sungjae.
True. Also, just a note, though, I will say from a roster construction standpoint, because people love this when we talk about it, is that it's very easy to play 2 guys up top this week. So that's where it will also trickle over into the ownership there, because it's just easy. Again, what will we see more of? You and I, have bet on this in the past or joked about it, where what's the stack we see the most? Cam Young and Im is most likely it, or one of Im and Matsuyama if they try and get a little different there. But that leaves Finau out of some of those, but you can still easily build like a Young Finau or a Finau Im or something to try and separate a little bit. And I still think that makes it so that the total ownership up top stays at 15 or above, with Finau being the least of it.
So you kind of hit on this earlier. You have this lower 8K range of Hubbard, Glover, and 2R Norm are down there. They're drawing significant interest, as is Aaron Rye, as is Eric Cole. So expect a lot of ownership to gravitate that way. Then Eckroat, Gim, and Shez Reavie down at the bottom is what I'm seeing. And then at 72, Grayson Sig, he'll be like 8%.
Yeah, biggest standout to me was that Poston down to Cole range, because you mentioned the names, but also remember here for me, Poston, Hubbard, and Højgaard are like the secondary versions of what we know are the popular versions of Glover, Double R Norman, and Eric Cole. So it's not like significant drops. If Glover's 18, I think Poston is still like 12 or 13. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
I still think that happens.
So I think what you're looking at here, if I'm trying to like read this right, you have this little mini range in the middle of the eights from Spawn, Thigala, Mitchell, and Patrick Rogers that like literally no one is using. Mm-hmm. So Patrick Rogers makes the most sense there. It's funny that Patrick Rogers for ages is always overinflated because the potential that he has. He's on a good run right now, just lost in a playoff, and now no one wants to use him.
Yeah.
Dude got stuck in a divot in the middle of the fairway.
They're wondering if he's heartbroken, I think is why. That was sad, man. God, this guy cannot get the W. Like, he should have won in regulation. He played so-so on day 4. I mean, it was great because the open ends, it's midday for us. I'm like, okay, let's keep watching this. So I move over to the next one, just don't get off my couch, watch this. The guy literally should have done, there's so much he could have done down the stretch that he didn't do. Bhatia makes that great putt on 18 to lock it down to get in, and then sets up for what could be a playoff. It ends up being a playoff, and then you mentioned it, the old divot, the Paul Casey at the Players type situation, and just chunks it out of there completely. But I don't know. Like you said, still fits the mold. Cam Young is getting his first win, everyone's saying, but what about Thigala? Can Thigala get his first win? I think so. He's in that a little bit overlooked. Now, one note on Thigala that worries me a little bit.
That he can't drive?
Well, there's that, but we're talking a little ownership in this range, is that he always seems to get the boost at the end. Like, the people always love him, and it's just funny the way that works. It's like the old Ricky Fowler, the old Tony Finau, the Fleetwoods, all those guys that would always just get the last-minute boost. Really, why the hell do people, like, they weren't playing him, and then all of a sudden they're on him? You could see Thigala go from 7 to 10 to 10 to 13 pretty easily, I think, just to put a couple ranges on it. But it looks like Spawn and even Bo Hostler, who, by the way, was in the mix last week.
Well, I got some Bo Hostler info for you. I'm pulling a full Feinberg here for you. Okay. I mean, I was about to say that when you look at the Barracuda, ended up with a really nice week, and when you go like dig in a little bit more, see he's actually like John Deere, gained off the tee, gained on approach at the Rocket Mortgage despite missing the cut. Like, you need his putter to get hot, obviously, but he's played well in these sorts of fields so far this year. If the ball striking is going to be like okay and above average, if he can just run the hot putter, he's going to be great. I think that the move here, and I can be completely wrong about this, that when you just assess this range, I don't think that there's a lot of differentiation between a lot of these guys. Like, what's really the difference between Mark Hubbard and Eric Cole? Nothing.
Yes.
But what's the difference between them and Alex Noren, who no one is using? I mean, Alex Noren just top 25 at the Open Championship.
Right. Much tougher field.
So play Alex Noren and not those other two guys. Like, I'm not going to play Rye. I'm not going to play Hubbard. And I'm not going to play Eric Cole. And I like all those guys. But if you're telling me that Glover is going to be 21% or something like that, like, it's a tough scene. And if he beats me, he beats me. And I have the outright on him because I caught the number. That's all fine. Now, obviously, I won't win shit on DraftKings if he wins. But what are the chances that he wins? Well, I bet 1 in 65 that he could win. It's probably longer than that.
Yeah, and he's going to need to do something. Like, he's 8,200. It's not, again, he's under the average price, so the price matters for sure, and that's where this ownership comes from. But to your point, what ends up happening is you don't necessarily just need to fade just because of the ownership. It's what you just said. Is there guys around him that are the same dude? Yes, literally everybody around him. Besides, people are going to go off this. Oh, but it's 3 recent events.
Yeah,
yes,
that's great.
That's true. That's
great.
where this ownership number comes from. But then you can still make cases for other guys around him, and it's a whole separate week. It's a high variance week with all the water. The most water balls on tour on the season is this course. It's actually higher than the PGA National, right? Where you can look at it where everyone's comparing the Honda Classic. So you mentioned Noren. He's kind of in a good spot too, because also don't forget, right below him is Ryan Fox and Austin Eckroat and Doug Gim.
I don't see a ton of ownership on Fox.
I'm seeing it creep up, but it's 10%. It's not going to be like 20. So yes.
I like Fox this week. I think that he's a good play because I think that eventually all these guys get squeezed because everyone wants to use Glover, everyone wants to use Rye. Like, those two in particular stand out above the rest. So eventually everyone else's ownership is just going to have to go down. It does seem like Eric Cole is the next highest of all those guys.
Yeah.
And then if he starts taking away ownership, like, there's just none for the other guys.
And this is like the squeeze zone because Eckroat is definitely the guy at 7,500. So when you talk about Noren and Fox together, your guy Justin Suh, maybe you could play him. Tom Hoagie, all the way down at 7,500. I don't know again, it's not going to show up on the recent form or anything like what you're looking at, but at 7,500, that's priced in. Why can you not go to a guy like him? Maybe he can find his way around a course like this. And again, that range of the Noren, Fox, Suh, Hoagie is one way to go. The other way to go, Pat, is going up to the top. Like I said, JJ Spawn, Thigala, Keith Mitchell, Patrick Rogers. And maybe you say Thigala's going to get that late steam, but you can't, with Hadwin getting some love, Spawn, Mitchell, Rogers kind of have to be left out, and maybe Bo Hostler at the bottom. So it's kind of like the group of 7 guys there that you could go to.
The other thing you can do is if you don't want to play Grayson Sig, although I think I will play Grayson Sig, is that for $100 less, you have Ben Griffin, and they're basically the same guy.
Yeah, I like that call. And also Kevin Yu is getting some love there too.
Yes.
With Sig. So both those guys getting love. Ben Griffin seems like a good pivot there as well. If you need to pivot, again, sometimes you can play both. But I think that maybe your guy, Davis Thompson.
I saw some Davis Thompson love this week.
It's like people mentioning it, but not moving forward with it.
I can see that.
Yeah.
It's not a fun click
Yeah.
as someone who plays a lot of Davis Thompson.
And what about MJ Dafu?
MJ Duffy?
Duffy. I never know what to call his name, but yeah.
The only reason I know that it's not Diffew and it is Duffy because he was leading the U.S. Open at one point last year.
And you trust that they got his name right.
I take their word for it. Okay. And then he was playing his third shot on a par 5 from the hospitality tent. That was the end of MJ Duffy.
That makes sense. Now that all lines up. So that is true. What do you think about him?
I don't.
Okay, that's good. Don't need him then.
Yeah, listen, if you want to sell me on him,
I do not have a sell.
I'm
no.
all ears on it, but he just hasn't been good.
He's played well at the Honda, if everyone wants to continue to use this comp.
I mean, Justin Suh's best week this year, ball striking wise, not even close, was at the Honda, and it was the 1 week he couldn't make a putt.
Yeah. So
funny how that works.
Yeah, it's the way she goes. But I think there is the main thing I would say too is that again, this is the other thing, going from Eckroat, Gim. We know Reevy and Kevin Yu, maybe Sig, but this range has a lot of guys that are overlooked. Like you talked about Sam Bennett already. I see people mentioning Ryan Palmer's name, but not necessarily clicking on him.
I clicked on the name.
That's good. I don't see any other people really going to it too much. My guy, Nick Hardy, don't see many playing him. I was going to bring up the Ben Griffin call, so I'm glad you did. I thought he was interesting. Davis Thompson, who we just talked about.
I'm also playing Merritt at $6,900.
Oh, I'm playing him. Flowchart season. It's back. It's mind you, it's not a birdie fest, but it's like, is it a weak field?
It could be a birdie fest.
It could be. That's true. And it, like I said, it could be, and it has been in the past. So I'm not taking that away. But the other thing that goes in the flow chart that I forgot the first time I brought it up is also, is it a weak field?
Yes.
Is Troy Merritt playing? Yes. Is he cheap? Yes. Is it a birdie fest or a weak field is how the flow chart should really go? Yes. Therefore, you should play Troy Merritt. $6,900.
Do you have any interest in Joel Damon?
Played pretty good last week,
He did. It was the first time he's played well since the RSM Classic last year.
Yeah.
The first time he's broke, what did he finish? Top 5 or something like that?
He was solid. I don't remember what it was last week. It was because he kept getting shown in the broadcast. Him and Ryan Gerard, who another guy we could talk about, were in the mix, and then they kind of weren't, but they still finished okay.
Damon opened the year with a T41 at Pebble Beach, and until the Barracuda last week, that was his best finish.
Yeah, you know what you're getting with Joel Damon. There's a lot of volatility. If you watch Full Swing, the documentary, they tell the truth on that one too. It's literally the story of Joel Damon, where it's like, man, this guy, is better than most, if you will, and it's whether or not he brings that game this week or not. And sometimes you got to wonder, like the Barracuda last week, does he realize it in these events where it is weaker fields like this and just say, man, this is the time I need to shine and show it off. Sometimes we see it like the U.S. Open that year where he shows up and puts up a number, and that's great. But in these type of events, he's got to feel like he's better than some of the guys out there and can show up. So we'll just see if he does or not. A lot of volatility associated with him.
Trevor Cohn at 68 and Carson Young at 68. I'm going to play Carson Young again.
Yeah.
He was actually all right last week, too.
Yeah, the correlation, too, is Carson Young flowchart. Is Carson Young playing? Yes. Is Cameron Young in the field? Yes. Is Cameron Young possibly popular? Yes. Play Carson Young because he's probably going to be the C Young you see when you scroll down your app.
And then you said Zach Blair from the bottom, if you wanted to do that, 63.
From the clouds, really. But yes, at the bottom of your price board, 6,300. He's going to have to really do something special to pop in and make this thing work. But at 6,300, you can try it out. And what's that? What's Frankie?
He's 65.
Frankie Capalot. Yes.
How is that guy 65?
Yeah, man, just crushing it on the Corn Ferry Tour. 4th and 14th in 2 of his last 3. Got some local ties. There's some motivation factor there as well. Again, everybody has motivation in this tournament, really. There's a lot of stuff going on, Ryder Cup stuff with guys like Højgaard, Rye, and Aberg, others included as well. But then there's also, the other side. Justin Thomas is here for many reasons, the FedEx Cup stuff as well as Ryder Cup probably. So, there's a lot going on this week from that. And what about a guy I always play, David Lipsky, 6,700?
I don't ever think about
all right,
David
he's there, though. I could play
He's
him.
your guy. I get that.
I pick my guys when I go down to these ranges and usually end up playing the same ones that pop over the long-term stuff, so I don't mind.
For reference, in short-term modeling, 3 of the guys that I said I wasn't going to play, Glover, Norman, and Rye because of ownership, are 1, 2, and 9 by my key stats in the short term.
That's why
everyone's playing them.
Yeah.
Jaeger is number 5, if people were wondering.
Yeah, Jaeger's interesting this week too, but I still think people get on him. Even I thought at the start of the week at 9,100 he might get a little bit left out, but doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Looks like you'll see somewhere in that 15% range.
What do you do with these 9K guys? I'm playing Aberg, but you had said like Justin Thomas, got to use him at 93. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I think especially in large field stuff, I have no problem doing it. This is the funny part. Like I said, I'll bring this one up now because I didn't really talk about it on any shows this week. Was all week long. I was joking earlier a little bit about the
Honda Classic.
Duffy with the Honda Classic stuff, but it's like everyone says this argument for everyone all week long, and then doesn't talk about how Justin Thomas literally won the Honda Classic before. If that's really a comp, and then everyone says, no, they don't like him obviously because of his recent form. The ninth at the Travelers wasn't horrible. It's like 5 or 6 of his last 8 rounds were okay. He puts up a 9 ball on the Thursday at the Open, and that's obviously a problem. Had to one up his buddy Ricky Fowler when he put up the 8 on the last hole after a great round. So it happens. It's bad, but when you sit there and talk about it, like Aberg suits the course. We know what he's going to be long term. He's an incredible talent. He's excellent. He's getting like 20% ownership. There's a 15-time PGA Tour winner with 2 majors right there at 9,300. Would it surprise you or shock you? To me, it wouldn't, because everyone just wants to, he's broken. But if Justin Thomas wins the 3M Open, you knew he would bounce back at some point, will be what people say. And then they use the same argument of the recent form thing with a guy like Eric Cole. But Eric Cole played good at the Honda. He's having a great season. Well, what's his recent form, though? Is it better than Justin Thomas's? Technically, yes. But all those 43s and 45ths and 51s won't help me, where Justin Thomas has posted a 9th at the Travelers. Like, you can battle it however you want. My point is, he's 9,300. You got to play somebody up here. He's not my favorite player, conviction play in this range. I just don't think people are crazy playing him. And I do think he's going to get to like 12 to 14%. Like, I don't think he's going unowned. I just think he's fine because of what the field is and what his caliber is. He's going to bounce back at some point. Maybe not this week, but that's where, and people say, you've been saying that forever. That's the whole point of this game. Like, you can get in on him and get 15%. You're live with 85% of your lineups if he does.
Opportunities gained. So birdie chances or eagle chances inside 15 feet from the green or fringe over the past 12 rounds. I have the top 10 in front of me. We can go Family Feud style. Take some guesses.
Oh, God. I'm the worst at these games, man. Who's first?
Justin Thomas.
Oh, wow. There you go. Birdie Opportunity Fest is what we have here. Not a Birdie Fest, maybe, but there's an Opportunity Fest.
So
for sure.
one of the things that I always like to look at, and I put these back to back, and I did it on the research show, opportunities gained versus birdies or better gained on the field. So how many chances are you creating kind of versus how many are you actually converting? So he's number 1 in opportunities gained, but 25th in birdies or better gained. Now, he can't putt. Like, that's the sneaky part about Justin Thomas's recent struggles. Yeah, he's making big numbers. He had that horrible round at the Rocket Mortgage where he couldn't chip, which is just shocking.
Which adds on and makes it worse.
It adds on, makes it worse, but the dude can't putt at all.
Changed his putter this week, too, by the way.
There you go. I changed my putter earlier this week. All of a sudden, I'm making putts. I have no idea if it's better or not, but I just feel more I've lost confidence with the putter that I had. I changed putters. Now I'm making putts.
Scotty Scheffler, take notes if you're listening.
Yeah,
Probably not, but if he was.
He needs to change like the Jaco Van Zyl like hammer putter.
He needs anything. Glover, by the way, the guy that's super popular. So people change putter won't work. Well, you're diving in at 20% on Lucas Glover because of a change putter. So I'll let you know that right now.
And it is funny too. Like when you look at Glover's also 3rd in opportunities gained. Over
Cam Young up there?
No, it's Thomas, Aberg, Glover, Reeve, Hideki are the top 5. Taryn, Palmer, Zach Blair, Aaron Rye, Custy Pete, and Troy Merritt.
Man, some of these names I'm liking. Merritt,
that's
Zach
a
Blair.
very
These are some value plays. My guys, like I said, when you go down there, you should play your guys so you can get enough of them. I think this is standing out as a couple guys that I do like down there.
Yeah, Duffner's also up there too.
Duffner did something last time out, didn't he? Because I remember.
Did he?
Yeah, I was following along, and he was supposed to suck in my eyes, but he ended up actually playing okay.
He was 30. He has his 2 best finishes of the year in his past 2 starts. He had a 31st at the John Deere and a 24th at the Barbasol. Now, those might as well be Corn Ferry events, but they're not.
Plays good at the Honda.
Does he?
Didn't he crush at the Honda? Did he win at the Honda?
No, he's never won at the Honda.
Okay,
he was 74th this year at the Honda.
No, not this year. You'd have to look at the long term.
He's missed 1 cut in his career at the Honda dating back to 2004.
That's some quick work, Pat.
I opened his name and typed in Honda.
That's perfect.
Fantasy National. That's why you need it.
It's the best. Sorry, I was so mesmerized how quick you got that stat for me. What was his actual Honda results?
74th miscut, 53rd, 27th, 75th past 5 years.
He's horrible at the Honda then.
Yeah.
I thought for
but
some reason.
before that, 17th, 14th, 17th, 9th, 40th.
Oh, yeah, sorry. It's because he's been around for so long.
Yeah, it's because he's been on, because he won a major in like 2011.
Yes, that's correct.
I mean, we're a bit older now, and 2011 doesn't seem like that long ago,
So long ago.
but it's so long ago
Yeah, it's for sure.
when Duffner was awesome.
Yeah,
But he's still great with his wedges. Sam Bennett, 16th in that number. Trevor Cohn, 17th. Jagger, 18th. Eric Cole, 20th. Do you think Michael Kim is going to get the Twitter bump?
Stock went down when he started calling out Cam Smith. Did you see he called out? He did all those great threads last week. I was like, man, stock's on the rise. Michael Kim's the man. Still like him. I'm just teasing. But he then posts the view of Cam Smith on the 17th, whatever it was.
Oh,
the hole.
yeah, on the road hole.
He's like, it might not be a popular take, but this is a very overrated shot. He had like a yard to work with and blah, blah. It's like, buddy, it's the 71st shot of the major. He needs this shit up and down basically to have a shot.
Well, he did say that, but I think the important point of what he alluded to in that, because it's coming back to me now,
Yeah.
like Celine Dion over here.
all
But
coming
the
back.
impressive part was the putt that he made for the par.
Yes.
Because he had to get it to like the best case scenario was like put it to 16 feet or whatever it was, 10 feet. Like that is the clutch putt. I think that's what he was getting at.
I think so too. To me, it was reminiscent almost of the John Rahm at the U.S. Open when he had to make that decision out of the bunker. Was the bunker shot hard? No, he just had the decision of, I know I'm going to have a long putt for this, but it's much better than what the risk is of the other side of going over the green makes it. And the long putt is what's like, damn, dagger in Louis' heart, move on. This was kind of the Cam Smith thing. He had to make that putt after the fact of the first putt. So I get where he's coming from, but Michael Kim, SH Kim, both right there and getting talked about, but not getting clicked, like 5% or less, I think. So you can play them, no problem.
Let's build some lineups. Should it be worth noting that you are gone next week? You know, you're traveling around the world, going to Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm going to check out Minnesota, and then I'll be on a little bit of a mini family vacay just to bounce
time of
back
year?
from. Yeah, it's that. Get out of the way now. Like you said, football season is coming back before August 7th, which is 30 days leading up to the football season starting. So everyone, August is kind of when it kicks off, but gets really ready for it. August 7th, though, is the 1 month out.
So Raza has agreed to step in for next week for
Nice.
the Wyndham Championship to break down all the DraftKings stuff with me. So haven't talked to Raza in a while. He went on vacation, wasn't even here for the Open Championship stuff. So it'd be nice to get Raza back in the mix. But if we build a lineup, would you want to do double up top? Because it seems to me that if you play Cam Young, you have $7,800 that I think, I could be wrong on this. You play Cam Young, and then you play Aaron Rye, and you play Lucas Glover, and you play Eric Cole, and you play, who was it, Eckroat at 75, and then you have $7,700 left. I guess that leaves you right on Ryan Fox if that's what you wanted to do. But I think you're going to see a lot of lineups like that.
Yeah, so do we have to take, let's swap Cam Young and Fox
Okay.
to Sungjae. And what does that get us? Anything?
Sungjae gets us back up to 83, which is Mark Hubbard.
Mark Hubbard. So
yes.
what does that seem more popular to you?
Potentially. Like, who do you think is going to be more owned, Cam Young or Sungjae?
Yeah, I think Sungjae.
Okay, well, now let's try this. Let's get rid of Eckroat and Hubbard, and we'll throw in Aberg and see what that does for us. Like, 64 isn't really helping. So now we need to get rid of...
So I think here's what we have to
Eric
solidify.
Cole.
It's Aaron Rye for sure. I think we got to get rid of Eric Cole,
You're going to say it's Aaron Ryan Glover for sure.
and I think it's Eckroat for sure.
Eckroat for sure?
Feels like
For
it.
sure?
Who's the guy you said after Aberg, right?
Yeah,
That leaves us
just because Aberg was cheaper.
$6,700.
Well, maybe it's Jagger then.
I just don't know who's.
So if you go to Jagger, if you go Jagger, Rye, Glover as a 4, you have $7,250 left, and that throws us directly into SIG range. You can go.
You might have it here. Just so, and by the way, we hit the most duped lineup last week.
Did we?
Yeah.
What was it?
I forget now, but you can go look. Skyhook DFS mentioned him earlier. He had it posted out, and it was definitely the one that we had posted in. It was like our first build too. That we hit it early on, and people either ran with it or whatever happened. I don't know, but
Okay. Jagger, Rye, Glover, SIG, Reevy.
yeah, there you go. Even though it leaves out Eckroat, it's probably the way. That's what I would see as well. Sig and Reevy, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bet you that projects pretty well too.
It actually projects less than the
First one?
second one, whatever that was. No.
Okay.
But this does look pretty popular. So Sungjae, Steven Yeager, then it goes Glover, Rye, Reevy, Sig.
Correct.
Okay.
So what's another way that we can get access to this? Let's go.
Let's do the double up now. Let's do like the Young.
Cam Young Hideki? Cam Young Griot?
Yeah, I was going to try and do 210Ks, but that's fine too.
Yeah.
What about Straka? You think Straka or Grillo?
I think Griot gets more ownership. And I think that Straka is a better play.
I was going to say, I think Straka fits a lot of the builds here.
Okay, let's go Straka then. It's not like Straka is going to be unowned.
So are we doing Cam Young or Im?
Cam Young. Cam Young, Straka leaves you with 74. So Eckroat is most definitely in that one. Rye is most definitely in that one. Now we have 7,100. We're almost back in that same range. Is there anyone $7,100 and below you think is going to stand out as like the popular play when you're constructing lineups like this?
No, but this might lead to like some of those guys between like Merritt, Hadley, and the two Kims because they're 6,900. I don't see a lot at 7K that people love. Maybe Streelman, but I just don't see it. So it's like for the popular version of this, it almost has to be where you go back down from. It's weird that Eckroat's getting squeezed out of these.
I know. He's
because if you just pull Eckroat out and leave Sig, I'm pretty sure that it is something along the lines of.
Okay, let's do this then. Let's turn in this lineup
Ryan Palmer and Reevy, for example.
Now let's turn Cam Young into Sungjae. Now we have 75. We have
here's where it is. Yes,
we have $7,400 left now. Now you go Sig and Eckroat, or whoever.
Even then, this is funny. Eckroat gets squeezed, but listen to this one: Sungjae, Straka, Rye, Cole, Reevy, Sig.
Yeah, that one's going to be popular.
That should be popular. Like that makes sense. So it's weird though that he keeps getting squeezed. So if I take Cole down to Eckroat, what does that get me up to?
Cole down to Eckroat gets you not much.
I can
get you 7,500. So it gets you like Gim.
Oh yeah, where's Gim?
Gim or Higo.
So if I take Sig up to Gim, right?
Yeah.
Is he 7,500?
He's 7,400. So you leave 100 on the table.
So here you go. So Sungjae, Straka, also Straka. Oh no, you're.
And you can. Well, you don't need to. I guess you can't do that either because you still have the 100 left there.
But look, so Sungjae, Straka, Rye, Eckroat, Gim, Reevy.
Yeah.
And that projected the best so far of anything. So that looks like one of the versions too. So who's this one leaving out then? This one's leaving out Cole.
Yeah.
And this
Glover.
one's leaving out Glover. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know how else you would do it. I guess we got to look at the 9K build.
Okay, well let's fire one of those up.
Or Pat, is it Hideki that we're missing here?
Maybe it's Hideki.
Like Hideki. What do you have to Hideki for ownership on your side? I've got him around 16.5, I think.
I have him at 21.
Oh, wow. So this is why I'm saying, sorry, I had him at 18. My bad, 18. So let's go look here. If you go with Hideki in that similar type build, let's leave the 9K guy out and go to the Glover, Rye, Eckroat.
Glover, Rye. I think that Cole will be more on than Eckroat.
But now you can still get him in. That's what I'm saying. Cole.
Eckroat.
And it leaves you on Keith Mitchell? No, I don't think so. Who's the 9K guy we said? Jaeger?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can do this one then. This looks popular.
Is it
Reevy.
Reevy and Jaeger?
Yeah, Hideki, Jaeger, and then it's Glover, Rye, Eckroat, Reevy projects the best so far again.
If you want to use all these chalk guys, so if we pivot off this lineup, for example, now you take out the last two guys, Jaeger and Reevy, you can easily go Justin Thomas and 7,100 Ben Griffin. And now all of a sudden, you don't have to worry about any. I mean, you probably don't like those guys as much, hence why you didn't click on them in the first place.
I think
but
it's
your
fine.
lineup is completely different now.
Yeah, I think what we should do, though, is have a look at pulling.
Glover for Hostler?
Not just that. Like, I want to pull Hideki, Glover, JT, and Rye, and see what we can do with lots of 9K guys. Like, who are the 9K guys that you could just jam?
Okay, we'll do the 9K build right now, and we'll say it is. Do you want to go
Aberg?
You want to go Aberg? Are you doing anything with Gary Woodland this week?
I think we have to, man.
I mean,
because he's also how can he get the ownership when you've got Jaeger now getting the late love, JT getting the fandom of, yes, it's not going to be 20%, but maybe it gets to that 12% type range, and then Straka and Grillo for sure getting love.
Great Honda Classic history too for Gary Woodland.
Yeah,
as someone did point out, I think it was Stephen Hennessy in the Golf Digest column that we do. I think Gary Woodland was one of his bets. He's like, I know how this is going to play out. He's going to be third tee to green and come T34 because he loses 8 strokes putting.
Yeah, it's definitely what's going to happen, but. Look at this build you can do. You can do Straka, Aberg, Jaeger, Eckroat, Gim, Griffin.
Oh, that's not bad.
Don't think it's going to be super popular at least.
No,
but
I don't think...
Even though it fits some of the chalk pieces in, like Eckroat, Jaeger and Aberg, it's a little bit of a way. I guess that would be a way to get a little different with it when Aberg is your second guy in with Straka. I wonder what Aberg as your first guy in would look like, though.
So Aberg, Thomas, Jaeger.
Ooh, that'd be interesting. Or what if it's Woodland?
I mean, I'm not playing Woodland, so I don't care.
So you do have 7,400 left when you go with that. Aberg, Thomas, Jaeger.
How about we do this then? To make it, you want to play a lineup that just has no ownership on it whatsoever. In a completely unique build, you could go Aberg, Thomas, Jaeger, Cone. Now we're back up to 77, and you could go Rye Eckroat, actually, if you wanted to.
Oh, that's a way to get different. So here's again, I always talk about it's not who you play, it's how you play. And will this has popular pieces in it, and you do put yourself in a spot where you're looking for...
You're playing a 3v3.
You have less leverage up top because of that, so I always talk about that. But I'm saying when you say starting a lineup with Aberg, including Justin Thomas, who not many are on, and Cone, who pretty much nobody is on, it's at least a way to be different with Eckroat, Rye, and Aberg versus those other builds we just looked at. But I do think there's another interesting one to look at if you want to use Cone. What if you go Cone Blair?
Well, okay, you want to do one of these super stack builds?
Yeah, Cone Blair.
Cone Blair. Okay. So 63 and 68. Now, that could be, Cone in this situation could be Merritt. It could be Carson Young. Blair is kind of the key one here because he's $6,300. You can kind of wiggle around with the other ones. Cam Young, Finau. 7,700. You can go Rye Eckroat again.
See, that's another example of what we just did. Again, this is Rye Eckroat can easily bust out because of this stuff, but I'm just saying in general, it doesn't project very well, but because you've got Cone and Blair in there.
Let's see.
What happens if you just use Cone? We kind of did that.
We just did that. You can go Cam Young, Finau, Zach Blair, Cone, Højgaard, Eckroat.
Yeah, that's just a way to get different so you put yourself in less 2v2 or 3v3 spots.
Yeah, or you can go Hostler, Gim, or Higo if you wanted to.
Hostler, Gim, Higo. I think what I would want to look at is what if you don't go straight to the top like everybody would the minute they put two 6K guys in?
Okay. Well, like I said, I'm probably going to, I don't know if I'll go full lock on Finau in 150, but I'm going to play a significant amount of Tony Finau.
Right, so but I'm saying, so let's use Finau, but not Young.
Finau, Hideki.
And now we have 8,700. Oh, I'm thinking less. Who are some of the guys that we said are going to go overlooked? What if...
Oh, you can go Straka. You can go Finau Straka if you want.
Yeah, that's more what I'm thinking. Where does that leave us? Now we have 8,400, and you can get away with whether it's Sahith and Norman or Hostler.
I like this one a lot.
What do you got?
We didn't really talk about Pendrith. After being out on Pendrith all year, I'm all in on Pendrith this week.
Okay, what do you got?
So Hideki, Finau, Pendrith, Patrick Rogers, Blair, Trevor Cone.
Yeah, that's unique.
I actually like that lineup.
I don't just love trying to peg the 6K guys, but I will say this is how I'll build them. I tell everybody, if you are going to do this, I like committing to this crew. If it's going to be for me, Cone, Blair, Frankie, Merritt,
Frankie Caps.
Frankie Caps, man. Frankie Cap a lot. I like this guy. If you go down here to these guys and just commit to them and just say, okay, I'll roll with that crew, you can get some builds like this and fit them in where you can at least say, yeah, I'm probably way off here, but if I'm right, you've got more combinations of guys at the top. If you keep, we just built a version with Young Finau, then we did a Finau Hideki. You can then, let me just do one more with this before we get out of here because I want to see on this build at least. I just mean going to the 9K range. We liked, even if you want to go chalk, Straka, Aberg, Jaeger, and that gets you Hadwin. I don't know if you like Hadwin. I'm saying maybe you like Spawn.
I like, just the thing is, I see Pendrith as in this range. Out of those guys, I'd probably roll the dice on Thigala. Or Keith Mitchell, who's won the Honda Classic.
Yeah, that's true too. Keith Mitchell, Thigala. That's another good point, actually, that you just brought up about the JT thing. Is it doesn't get talked about enough where your same thing is going on with him. Okay, this build is really interesting then. So look what you can get. Start with Hideki like we did before. Hideki, Sepp Straka, Thigala, Mitchell, Blair, Cone.
That's aggressive.
It is, but it's not really that crazy. If Straka's good, Matsuyama's good, Thigala could win. You just made a great case for why Mitchell probably should be getting played and isn't really compared to the guys above and below him, and we're using the same 2 punt plays down at the bottom. Again, we know Cone and Blair is already very aggressive to start things off. What if we just go Blair, Pat?
Okay.
6,300 and then kind of build up with what would still be, optimal-ish looking.
Yeah,
But you are,
instead of using Blair, let's use Frankie Caps at 65.
all right, let's do that. Frankie.
So if you go Straka, Aberg, Jaeger, Frankie Caps, you got 77.50 left for two guys.
Straka,
So you can go
Aberg. Who was the last guy you said? Straka, Aberg,
Straka, Aberg, Jaeger
Jaeger.
with Frankie Caps at 65.
You can get Glover at that point.
You can get Glover and Eckroat if you wanted to.
No, you're 200 short. Oh, I have to build this just so the people get it. You drop back down to Blair,
Yeah.
and you get the Eckroat version. So the build you said is this, Pat. It is Straka, Aberg, Jaeger, Glover, Eckroat, Blair. Projects 10 points less than the best build so far. That's interesting. Again, you say, the
you
60
need Zach Blair to make
yeah,
the cut.
that's where you're taking your stand. But now you have another version of Zach Blair. Maybe the ones with Cone were too aggressive. Probably. But we're playing for a large field tournament. But I'm saying, is this as aggressive? Not. I mean, you got Eckroat still and Glover, who people like. You've got Straka, Aberg, Jaeger. You just need Blair to be your guy to come through. And if Blair's not your guy, now you can go back to Frankie. And who was the guy at 7,300 you liked earlier? I thought, Reeve. I don't know if you like him, but I'm saying you can
I do like Reeve.
So you can go to Reeve and Frankie. If Straka, Aberg, Jaeger, and Glover come through, no one really has them with Frankie and Reeve.
True.
So again, that one projects a little less because of the changes that we made, but basically Frankie projects less than Blair. Blair actually does stand out okay because there's not going to be a lot of data on Frankie outside of the Corn Ferry Tour stuff that he's been doing lately, 4th and 14th in 2 of his last 3.
Okay. I like it. Anything else you want to add? Meet Tambo at the 3M Open.
Yeah, hit me up if you're there for sure. I mean,
That'll be like when we were looking at the Wyndham Championship field when they listed all the people who volunteer instead of the players that are playing. Maybe that's what the 3M is doing for you. Come meet Tambo. Don't worry about Tony Finau.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll be chatting it up on 18, trying to see if we can get in the guys' heads, get my picks through. Last time I went to a live event was the
Zalatoris won.
The Zalatoris win, the Memphis call. This didn't have the call this week like that one, but I almost called in sick for the studio today, Pat, because every time I don't come in to the studio and just go on my travels, it's usually pretty good. But I'm trying to break that streak and that curse. So let's get the W this week up top. Hopefully I can win the 555 with 100K up top.
I love it. How'd you do in the 444?
Not good.
Not good?
That was funny is the 2 did bad. I had a 4-6 and a 5-6. Neither came through. The 5-6 had Scotty, so leading the way. It was I thought it was a good build. It was unique. Did not come through. But on Saturday, I won. We did the round 3 showdown show. Using that information, went on to win another mega ticket for next month.
Nice.
Into that. So we'll get another shot to get back at it again.
What's the mega ticket for?
They're going to do it for BMW, I think.
Okay, good.
So it's a 44-44 with $1 million up top. Be a horrible prize pool. It probably will not have a Tournament of Champions semifinal ticket attached to it, but it'll still be a chance at $1 million in a smaller field. 530 probably or something is
Only
my guess.
50 guys in that field.
Is it? Is that what it is this year? I thought it was still 70.
70, 50, 30.
So which is the 70 then? Sorry.
The first one, St. Jude.
So it may be for that, actually.
Okay.
What you have the schedule up still? We did look at it earlier.
I mean, I can effort it, yeah.
August 17th, I think, is the date.
August 17th is the BMW.
So it might be for that
So
one.
50-man field.
50 man for $1 million. Wow.
At Olympia Fields. I believe the last time at Olympia Fields, it's when Rahm stormed back on Dustin and won in the playoff. And it played like at -3 or something like that was the winning score. Like if you hit it in the rough, you were fucked.
I like this course, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good one. But this will be fun because it's the one where you'll be winning either all the money or losing all the money on day one and something like
Yeah,
the
it'll
mega.
switch like 80
and it'll
times.
switch and you'll be like, oh shit, I'm live to win $1 million. It's like, no, you're definitely not. Or vice versa, or whatever it ends up. Or you just sit in the middle the whole time. But either way, should be a lot of fun. Excited to get back in.
The Patrick Cantlay Open, the BMW Championship. Loves the BMW. Him and Justin Thomas love the BMW.
It's also like I think it was a heavy Muirfield comp, wasn't it? A lot of people use that one, and I think it worked out well last time.
I don't know. Dustin never plays well. Never played well.
Played well. That's true. Maybe this just winner wise, but the rest I think of the field was like the Cantleys, the Roms, the guys like that.
I mean, we can start your research on the BMW right now. Let's look up John Rahm. Click on that. Let's go to his wins. He's got a lot of them. BMW Championship in 2020 from Olympia Fields North. Rahm, Dustin, Hideki, Neiman, Finau. And those were the only players under par for the week.
Okay.
Kokrak, Fitz, Munoz, Todd, Lonto, Mac Hughes, Patrick Cantlay.
Sounds like we can jam a lot of the cheap guys that week. 50-man field pricing wise, there's probably going to be some cheapies. Sounds like you can get a few of them in there. Those guys couldn't have been more than 6K that week in the 6K range.
I can probably effort that. We go to DraftKings scoring, see what their historic pricing
We're
was.
getting too far ahead of ourselves. Let's win the money this week first.
No, we'll win the money that week. Rahm and Dustin were the 2 highest priced guys, and they finished 1-2 in a playoff.
Yeah.
And then Todd was 74, Neiman was 71, Kokrak was 75. Lonto and Harmon were both 69. Ben Ann was 68. And then you had Joel Damon, who came 20th, but finished higher up in DraftKings scoring, was 6,500. Munoz was 6,300 and came in 8th.
Yeah, that you can get some cheapies in there to make the big dogs work.
And there's no cut, so.
That's what doesn't hurt you as much, exactly.
Yeah. Danny Lee played well that year. A lot of guys who went to live played well in that tournament, as it turns out.
No chance coming back to this one
No, I don't think so. Matthew Wolf was 16th.
before he was getting kicked off live teams.
For Brooks hates his guts.
Yeah.
All right, Tambo, you got anything coming out on shipitnation.com later today?
The show came out yesterday. You guys can check it out. Definitely check out the tidbits. About to cross 30,000 followers. Appreciate all that support. And follow me if you don't already at Toe Tag and Tambo. Check out shipitnation.com. Everything you need to have success with DFS.
FantasyNational.com/Mayo to generate your lineups, to do your research. It's all up there for you. That gets you 20% off as well. Smash like. Give me your favorite sleeper. In the comment section on the way out, I had football yesterday. I have football tomorrow. I got Meanie in studio next week, wrapped around with all of the golf. And I'm going to try to shoot my research show early this week because I will be away with my family this weekend. So if there's no research show, it means I couldn't get the viz or knew the field or anything like that. But that'll do it for me. Sub to the newsletter, and I'll see you next time.
That Mayo experience! Experience!